Trademarks are important because they can keep you from losing clients and customers to a competitor who uses branding that is confusingly similar to yours. But when should you apply for a trademark? Is there a specific place in your business journey that you should get to before you file an application? Are there certain requirements that you have to meet before you can apply? What one question should you ask to get clarity about when to do your trademark filing? Let's talk about it. Hey friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Faith Mitten, an attorney on a mission to simplify trademark law for entrepreneurs and business owners so that they can better understand their legal rights. Here you'll find tons of content to help you learn how to navigate the crazy world of trademarks and to stay on the right side of the law. And I always like to start these foundational videos by defining what a trademark is, just so that we're all on the same page and we all know what I'm talking about. A trademark is a type of legal protection for a business's brand identity. The things most commonly registered as trademarks include names, taglines, and logos, but the trademark universe is pretty huge. So you may also be able to register trademarks for non-traditional things like building designs and scents and colors and domain names and hashtags, as long as those things are functioning as a source identifier, meaning that they tell people who the source of a product or service is. But the whole point of registering a trademark is to protect your uniqueness in your field, in your industry, so that your competitors can't identify themselves the way that you do and confuse your clients and customers. But once you've decided to file a trademark, the next thing you have to decide is when to do the filing. And I'm not going to waste any time. I will cut right to the chase. The best time to file a trademark is now, even today. There are 3 reasons for this. First, you have to consider just how long it will take you to get your application approved if it is ultimately approved. Yes, unlike LLC filings, trademark applications are actually reviewed by a human for approval eligibility. This human is an attorney who works for the government, in this case, the United States Patent and Trademark Office or the USPTO. LLC filings tend to be approved instantly by an algorithm or some sort of computer software, because the approval process is kind of basic. The approval process for trademarks is not basic at all. There are many legal requirements that have to be satisfied for a trademark to be approved. And so, like I said, an actual person has to review every application. So it will take a minimum of 12 months to get your application approved. And in all likelihood, it's going to take a lot longer than that, especially if your application deviates from the streamlined path in any way, such as if you get oppositions or office actions, or if you have to establish use of your trademark after you file the application. And until you have your federal trademark registration in hand, you cannot claim the benefits of that registration. The main one being having the ability to claim exclusive rights over your branding nationwide and being able to stop your competitors from identifying themselves the same way. Other benefits of a trademark registration include using the circle R symbol on your packaging or in your marketing materials, getting infringing brands removed from internet platforms like social media websites or online marketplaces without having to file a trademark infringement lawsuit, preventing scammers from importing counterfeit versions of your products into the country, monetizing your brand by licensing your trademarks, and much more. So given the time frame from application to approval, it just makes sense to file a trademark application as soon as you possibly can. The second reason you will want to file your trademark ASAP is to get priority over confusingly similar trademarks. Priority is one of the main deciding factors in trademark disputes, although it isn't the only factor to consider. But the whole point is that trademark rights in the United States are based on use, which means publicly associating the name, tagline, logo, or whatever other portion of your brand identity that you want to protect with your products and services. In the case of products, that means actually selling the products that you are promoting under your trademark. In the case of services, that means advertising the services and providing the services that you're advertising under your trademark. And the first user of a trademark establishes rights that will trump anyone else who begins using a similar trademark for similar products and services after them. This is the concept of trademark priority. But remember that I said trademark rights are based on use and not based on filing a trademark application. So then what does filing a trademark application have to do with priority? Now, we're going to have to get into some technical, funky legal stuff, but I promise to break it down as simply as possible. Using a trademark publicly establishes something known as common law trademark rights, which will only protect you in the places where you have made actual sales of your products and where you have actually provided your services. That's obviously very limiting, because if you have not sold your products or provided your services in every region, state, city, locality, etc. of the country, you will not have common law rights in those places. But when you file a federal trademark application, a really cool thing takes place, and I love this. You establish something known as constructive use. And what that means is, for the purpose of resolving any trademark disputes regarding priority, we will all pretend that you began using your trademark nationwide on the date that you filed your federal trademark application. And this concept of constructive use applies whether or not you've publicly launched your brand or whether you've actually started using the trademark in the way that I defined earlier. And not only will constructive use be used to determine priority in trademark disputes, the very fact that you have filed your trademark application with the USPTO can prevent the approval of other federal trademarks filed after yours that look or sound similar to yours if they are sold in connection with similar products and services. This is true even if the later applicant actually began using their trademark before yours, because our legal system rewards people who are proactive about protecting their trademark rights and filing first. Speaking of which, another really good reason to apply for a trademark ASAP is because trademark registrations are a lot like insurance. This kind of protection doesn't seem really important until you need it, but when you need it, it's probably going to be too late to get it. The longer you wait to apply for a trademark, the greater the chances that you're going to run into some expensive complications in the application process. Because while you're taking your time to decide, your competitors could begin using branding that's similar to yours, establishing common law trademark rights that will compete with yours, or even worse, they can successfully register the trademark that you want to register, or one that is confusingly similar to it, which will still prevent you from getting your trademark approved if you file after them. If either of those things happen, meaning if your competitors start establishing common law trademark rights in places where you don't have any common law trademark rights, or if they are able to register the trademark that you want, you may still be able to get your trademark somewhere down the line, but I promise you it's going to be at least 10 times more expensive and a lot more stressful. Case in point, I recently spoke to someone with a heartbreaking story. They came up with a really unique and innovative brand name for their business. No one else was using it, and so they launched their business and began promoting their products and services. They never applied for their trademark. And unbeknownst to them, one of their competitors in another part of the country who had no knowledge of them began using an almost identical trademark to theirs. And the competitor began using the trademark just within weeks of the first business going public with their brand. The competitor, however, was really savvy and applied for a trademark quickly. Their trademark was approved. Then this competitor turned around with their brand spanking new trademark registration in hand and sent the first business a cease and desist letter, basically requiring them to stop using the trademark. Because the first business was not proactive about protecting their brand by filing a federal trademark registration that would have covered the entire country, and because the competitor began using a similar trademark, really almost identical trademark, very soon after the first business publicly launched their brand. The first business is on a back foot in this dispute and doesn't really have many options to protect themselves or to resolve the dispute in their favor. In all likelihood, they're going to need to rebrand, even though it seems really unfair because they were the first user. but they weren't proactive about protecting their rights. So if you are still on the fence about whether you should file a trademark application, this one question will help you get clarity about what to do. Here it is. If you found out today that you could never again use your chosen name or tagline or logo because someone else got a trademark registration for it, how upset would you be? If the thought of losing your brand is giving you heart palpitations right now, because that would mean having to destroy your product packaging and maybe even inventory, needing to completely redo your website, your social media, and your online presence, having to change signage outside of your storefront, and making a whole bunch of other expensive changes in your business. Or if you're concerned about losing the ability to use a brand that you haven't fully launched yet, but that you still care deeply about, then, my friend, that is a pretty good sign that now is the time to file your trademark and get some peace of mind by shoring up your legal rights. And that's all from me. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe for more trademark content and to turn on notifications so you never miss when I post a new video. If you have questions or thoughts to share, please drop them in the comments. I read and respond to each one personally, and I would love to hear from you. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next video.